video, we tackle the common belief that plant-based eating is too hard to implement, too expensive, and too restrictive. Hey guys, it's Hannah from Back to Balanced Nutrition, where I work with cancer patients and survivors on optimizing treatment outcomes, enhancing recovery, and preventing the risk of disease recurrence after treatment. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button below, and all the links I mentioned are available to you in the subscription box below. Now, please make sure to stick around to the end of the video where I share a free guide with you that will help you build a cancer protective body. So let's jump right in. Plant-based diets are all the rage these days, with people making the switch for various reasons, from ethical to health to environmental reasons, and they only seem to be growing in popularity. Now, you may have heard of all the benefits of a plant-based diet, as evidence does show that it's not only the best dietary pattern for our health, but for the health of our planet and its inhabitants. Maybe you're ready to make that shift to center your diet more around whole grains, legumes, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds, and reduce your risk of various chronic diseases, including heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, neurodegenerative diseases, as well as many forms of cancer. If you're ready to take that leap, I commend you for it. At the same time, you might be thinking that a plant-based diet will be too difficult to implement and put into action, that it'll be too expensive, or worst of all, boring and too restrictive. And believe me, you're not alone. So let's tackle these beliefs one at a time, shall we? Common belief number one: plant-based diets are too difficult to implement. Trust me when I say that you're not alone here. All of my clients experience some level of confusion or overwhelm when they're shifting from an omnivorous diet to a plant-centric diet based around whole foods. There's always some confusion, and it's always a learning curve, but that's part of the journey. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to overcomplicate things. We want to keep things as simple as possible. A plant-based diet is centered around whole grains, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. And so keeping it simple can mean having beans and rice and a side salad for dinner with a little bit of tahini sauce, and that's it. It can also mean oatmeal with fruit for breakfast, or a whole wheat wrap with beans and avocado and maybe some romaine lettuce for lunch. It does not have to get too complicated. The next thing we want to do is we want to reach out to family and friends who have made the transition before us and can give us some really good, healthy advice and quick tips on how to do it the right way. They might recommend cookbooks for you that they've liked. They might recommend podcasts or recipes with their favorite websites. You might host a potluck with some of your favorite friends and family members, and everybody brings a different plant-based meal. That's what my friends and I have done in the past, and we love doing this because it exposes us to different meals, different foods, and it allows us to share tips and tricks on plant-based eating, as well as connecting with others that are like-minded, and of course sharing delicious, comforting food with people that you care about. Next, you can start by making one meal a day plant-based. Breakfast is usually the easiest place to start because you can have oats with fruit and nuts and seeds, or you can have a smoothie with, again, fruit, nuts, and seeds and a plant-based milk. You can make a scrambled tofu or a simple toast with almond butter and banana slices, or toast with avocado, for example. So start with making one meal a day whole food plant-based and sustain that for a couple of weeks until you feel comfortable with that. Next, choose 3 meals that you love and make simple swaps within those meals to make them plant-based. For example, if you love spaghetti bolognese with the beef sauce, swap the ground beef for lentils and walnuts and mushrooms, a mixture of those, and voila, you have a plant-based, beautiful pasta dish. Maybe you love having chicken breast in a stir fry. Simply swap the chicken breast for air fryer or oven baked tofu that's been marinated and seasoned according to your liking. You can actually use very similar marinades that you would use in meat, and then just simply swap it for tofu. Easy. And now you have a beautiful plant-based stir fry with rice, veggies, and tofu. Maybe you like a regular beef patty on your burger. This is the easiest transition to make because you can actually just go out and purchase a veggie burger patty. There's so many different alternatives available now in stores that range from bean patties to sweet potato and mushroom patties to beet patties. Or you can actually just swap for a Beyond Meat or an Impossible Meat burger at the beginning when you're still not quite used to having legumes in your diet, and you're still making a transition and you're not really used to a plant-based eating pattern just yet. The next thing I want to say is save time by meal prepping your food. I typically will wash my veggies in water and salt, or water and white vinegar, chop them up, and then store them in my fridge so that they're easy to grab and go throughout the week. I will also make sheet pan meals so that it's vegetables and like especially starchy vegetables are easy for me to grab and go as a snack or as a side to a meal. For example, I will make a sheet pan meal with tofu, as well as yams, parsnips, turnips, red onion, squash, and cauliflower. That's just a quick example for you. Grab some hummus, grab some guacamole, grab the veggies on your that have been roasted, and you're good to go for a quick snack or even a meal. So meal prep is a lifesaver. Common belief number 2, eating plant-based is too expensive. Again, you're not alone if you think this way, because many people do think that when you're eating a plant-based diet, you're automatically subject to going out to the supermarket and buying the, all the faux meats, all the fancy artisanal vegan cheeses and other vegan food products. However, on a whole food plant-based diet, you can actually keep it really, really simple and stick to what we call a peasant or a prudent diet style, where we're focusing on more so like beans and rice, and then veggies, fruits, and nuts and seeds on the side. So there's no need to spend a lot of money when you're eating a whole food plant-based diet at all. And when you're buying in bulk, it's even better. Now, a recent Oxford study actually showed that you can slash food costs by up to 1/3 when eating a vegan or vegetarian diet. The research actually claimed that it was more affordable to adopt a vegan, vegetarian, or flexitarian diet in countries that included the US, the UK, Australia, and parts of Western Europe. Among the findings, they found that a vegan diet actually was able to led to the most food cost reduction of up to 29% lower than other dietary patterns. The next cheapest was actually a flexitarian diet, and the pescatarian diet pattern was the most expensive. So again, we don't want to overcomplicate things in terms of cost either. Keep it really simple, buy in bulk, and you're actually going to probably reduce your food costs along the way. Common belief number 3, plant-based eating can be too restrictive or flat out boring. This is a belief that I personally experienced myself. Shifting to a plant-based diet, I was really worried about this, but what I found was the exact opposite ended up being true. A plant-based diet actually exposes you to more foods than you could possibly imagine, because we tend to get stuck in a dietary pattern throughout our lives, especially living in North America. We tend to eat a more westernized dietary style, where we're eating, the meat, the potatoes, and the small little Caesar salad for, dinner every single night. That's kind of where I was. And then all of a sudden you're exposed to so many different beautiful plant foods that you probably wouldn't have ever tried had you not been experimenting with this specific dietary pattern. So please don't think a plant-based diet is going to be boring. It definitely is not. It actually opened my culinary world completely. I got a cookbook at the age of 25, and that's actually how I even learned how to cook. And as soon as I started cooking a vegan or a plant-based dietary pattern, I never went back. It was just so delicious. And so learning how to actually navigate plant-based eating is a lot of fun. You get to try out different restaurants. You get to maybe host potlucks, as I mentioned before, with your friends, where you all try out different recipes that you find online. Maybe you'll get a couple new cookbooks, or listen to a podcast of a cookbook author that you gravitate toward. There's so many different options, and your meals become more exciting because you're focusing on different ingredients that, again, you might have not been exposed to before. So, and soon you'll feel better. Your taste buds actually do change. Your taste buds regenerate every 10 days. So you'll start to actually crave foods for their natural flavors, their natural sweetness. If you're addicted to like sugar, for example, which is very possible in North America, a lot of people are, you'll start to realize that the sweetness that you get from fruit is actually all you need. And as soon as you taste something that is artificially sweetened or is sweetened with refined sugar, you are actually going to become averse to that, and you'll prefer the more natural flavors that come from the actual whole plant foods. And you'll feel better. Your digestion will hopefully improve on a plant-based diet because it's so rich in fiber, and you'll probably have higher energy levels, so you'll feel better overall. Next week, I'm tackling the topic of nutritional therapy and whether or not it actually makes a difference for cancer patients during and after treatment, and what a patient can expect to see if they actually include it in their program. So join me next week if this is a topic that you're interested in, or if you know someone who's currently going through treatment or maybe has finished treatment recently. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you next time.